The Agnipath scheme was launched yesterday. There's been much praise, but there has been some criticism as well. And answering, the criticism that has come in the way of Agnipath is the Vice Chief of Army Staff, General Raju, who's joining us. General Raju, thank you very much for your time here on CNN News 18.
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Sir, first things first, the question being asked is this. Why fix something that isn't broke? What was the problem with the recruiting system that the Indian Armed Forces have right now that you had to go in for a new one?
Yeah, I think it's a good question to start with. It's not about fixing something which is broken. It is about making a change for better. I could start with that. We definitely needed an younger age profile. You're aware of the Kargil Review Committee, the group of ministers which sat subsequently. Each one of them in their recommendation has said that we need an younger profile so that we are able to fight the battle of the future. And another important aspect of this change is bringing in young blood and people who have the propensity to pick up technology faster. These were the two main driving factors which kind of made the government to bring in this scheme, along with a host of other benefits which will accrue as we speak along.
But sir, the fact is that the pool that you recruit from will be the same. If it is about bringing down the age profile of the Indian Armed Forces and making it more technologically savvy, the pool is going to remain the same, irrespective of which scheme you recruit through.
Yeah, so the fundamental change that is happening in the Agnipath scheme is that we enroll in Agniveer for a period of 4 years, in which 6 months of training is also included, and then we retain only 25%. So this is a game-changing change that is occurring. So we retain 25% and release the balance of 75% into the environment, of which we can talk subsequently. So over a period of time, we as an Indian Army are getting chance to do 2 selections, one at the initial screening, and then in the 4 years that he stays with us, he goes through multiple screenings for his physical fitness, for his technical prowess, his ability to handle the weapons, and most importantly, his attitude and aptitude to the army. So we retain whom we think are the best suited for us, and then we release the balance of the people. And when this iteration goes on for a period of time, we slowly increase the number of people who are young to a larger percentage. So we have a good mix of young blood and experience. And the experienced lot are the ones whom we have retained over a period of time with the right attitude towards the army.
So what is this ratio going to be? 50-50, is it? Eventually, once the scheme settles?
I have heard some apprehensions in the environment that it could go to 75% and things like that, but I must assure here that it will be capped at 50%. And the scheme itself is being rolled out in a very, very methodical manner. Some people are apprehensive that there has been no pilot project for this particular program. So what I want to convey is that for an infantry battalion under the scheme, it has a strength of 800 people. So in the first year, you will get around 30 to 40 people. The second year, 30 people. Fourth year, 40 people. So at the end of 4 years, an infantry battalion at best will have 100 to 120 Agniveers. That is, in an infantry section of around 10 people, you will have 1 to 2 Agniveers. So this is the time when we are going to learn. And I must also make a mention here that the government has given the Raksha Mantri the power to make necessary amendments without going back to anybody. So this is important for everybody to know that we are on a learning curve. We realize that. Along the way, we will make the best of the system. And if there are some minor tweaking that is required to be done, we will do it.
So this is a big point you're making, sir. You're saying this scheme is not cast in stone. The rules are not cast in stone.
Absolutely.
If there is a problem with the scheme, as you go ahead, it is open to change.
Absolutely. And in addition, I would like to say that it is not a program which has come out of nothing. We have had 2 years of intense debate within the armed forces, with the government. It has gone through a very iterative process. And what we have come out with, we are already convinced with it. Having been convinced, there is an opportunity to learn along the way and make changes.
Okay, that is fair. So the next criticism that has come from the veteran community especially is, all right, you will retain the best 25%. What happens to the other 75%? You have trained these young men and women. You've given them a certain kind of life for 4 years. What happens to them when they go out? Now, the picture that was presented was fairly rosy, but not commensurate with the actual employment situation in India.
Yeah, I think this is a good question to take on. The 75% people whom we plan to release are those people who were picked up from the village, from small towns. The 6 months of training, we polished them. along the way for 3.5 years, we have given them unique skills, whether it is in terms of him being a physically fit man, in terms of weapon training, in terms of many technical trades also people are going to be enrolled into. So of them, as we said, we are going to retain some and the balance are going to be released. He's being released at the age of something like 24, 25 at best. He is completely employable. People are trying to correlate the Agniveer who is exiting after 4 years of training with an ex-serviceman who is going after 17 to 20 years of service.
In fact, the Home Minister today has tweeted to say that the Agniveers, after they are released, will be given priority for CAPF and for the Assam Rifles.
Absolutely. There should be no doubt in anyone's mind that these are probably one of the most employable people anybody can find. You know, when I speak to entrepreneurs, when I speak to industrialists, they want young, disciplined men coming into the workforce. So
Okay.
I'm very confident of the future of these lads.
Okay, last question, sir. I know you're running out of time. The one big concern that many emotional veterans have been making for the last couple of weeks on television, that Agnipath is not just changes the way you recruit people into the armed forces, but it also means a change in the character and the spirit of the Indian Armed Forces. For example, what happens to the regimentation system?
Yeah.
What will happen to the Gorkha Rifles or the Sikh, or to the Sikh battalion? How does it work out, sir?
Yeah.
Because the army comes with its own tradition and cultures and a lot.
Absolutely. I think this is an important question to answer and clarify to the larger community who is listening. Firstly, the regimentation that you spoke about is born not out of similar characters coming together. It is about people sitting together, talking together, eating together, fighting together, training together. During the training, they have sweated together, they have eaten together, they have gone through certain camps which are difficult in their character. So the bonding has already taken place, and along the way for next 3.5 years, they've stayed together. So, and another important thing to tell you here is that the 25% whom we are selecting are the ones within the battalion, will remain in the battalion. So I have no doubt that we are not changing the character of the regimentation. Yes, it will evolve along the way. Having said that, the bigger concern for many would be that we are going to recruit from across the country. It is an all India.
Correct, because the state quota is going.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that is going to happen, but it's going to happen again slowly. Many states which give disproportionate number of people into the army, this percentage will be reduced in a very gradual manner so that the pain is not felt there, thereby giving opportunity to many states which are underrepresented as a consequence of the existing system. 75% of the Indian Army units are already all India all class. In the fighting formations, we have some fixed class, mixed class, and that kind of variations. The change will start to happen here. And RR is a beautiful example of discrete number of people, disparate number of people coming together and fighting. Today they're fighting counterinsurgency, they're on the LC, they're even on the LAC today. And they're doing a fantastic job.
So essentially what you're saying is that the misgiving that Agnipath will impact work in the operational areas, that is not going to happen.
Absolutely. I want to assure you that our capacity to do our job and face the challenges that confront us is completely in place.
So we've, a couple of things we've heard about the Agnipath again from the veteran community is that this is an adventure camp, that this is, this is a kindergarten army, etc. We've heard all those things. My final question to you is, for any armed forces, the armed forces have to be your first choice of career. For a young person who's applying, will this ever be a first choice when he knows that he'll be out in 4 years, that he will not ultimately retire with a pension or with medical benefits? My final question.
I think the character of the people who are coming into the army is slowly changing. People are there in the environment who just want to join the army for 4 years and who want to leave because they want to experience the life of an army man. I think that is big. This particular scheme gives opportunity for those kind of men, first. Second, the demographic dividend of the country is so huge. There is place for everybody under the sun. There are enough number of people who will compete to join us. There are enough people to go and compete for the CAPF. I think we will find a fair mix, and I do not see any major drop, because everybody wants to be part of that 25% who is going to be retained. So I'm sure that this particular scheme will work, and we need to move forward with a large amount of confidence.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure.
And best of luck. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.